I've got a great story that comes to a single conclusion that simple solutions are the best. I raised three sons. I was an active, hands-on parent. And any caregiver knows how much work raising children is. It's a lot of work, and the days are very, very long. When my three sons were grown up and gone, I raised another child, a little girl. And for a long time, 20 years, 15 years more, I had long days. Now, during all this time, a good night's sleep would have been wonderful. But for me, during these 40 years, 4 decades, if I got 5 good nights sleep, it was a lot. I don't remember 5. So I learned to cope. Whatever the night brought me, however many hours of sleep, I'm talking 2, 3, 4, I learned to accept it and to get through the day. I made coffee at 6 o'clock every morning, spent an hour talking with my wife before the boys got up. I drove the boys to school through traffic, came back through traffic, and got to work in my home office. And about 1 o'clock, we broke, she and I, had dinner, and then took a nap. And I got through my workday on that nap. My workday was at night. I owned a restaurant, and I worked the restaurant every night. During all this time, I had many occasions, over 40 years, it's a lot of occasions, to speak to doctors, healthcare providers, social workers, psychologists, whoever you can think of. I had occasion to meet with several times. Nobody offered me a solution that helped me in any way. They did offer me sleeping pills or other medications, and those I never took. I always figured I didn't know what impact such drama would have on your body, and I'd rather tough it out, and I did. I toughed it out. One day I'm reading an article on the internet about grapefruit. I had suddenly gotten a desire to introduce grapefruit into my diet. Something about it appealed to me. Maybe the sugar that you sprinkled on top. I'm a sugar addict. Anyway, I'm reading this article, and in the article, the author mentions melatonin in conjunction with being a naturally produced hormone that induces sleep, suggesting some bodies don't produce enough melatonin. Wow, that resonated with me, because at night, when I do sleep, my eyes don't produce enough teardrops. So when I wake, even after an hour or two, my eyelids are scratchy. So I squirt some Gentile or Visine into them, and everything's fine. And as long as I'm awake, I don't have that issue. But it made me comfortable with the idea that there were natural supplements available for people whose bodies didn't produce certain items. Wondering now, maybe my body didn't produce melatonin, at least not enough. Being cautious, I called my doctor, told him about the article, the melatonin, and that it piqued my interest. And his nonchalant response was, "Oh, sure, yeah, it could happen, it could help, it won't hurt you," he says. "Try it." So I hung up, happy that I had an okay, but on the other hand, kind of pissed. I mean, why am I telling him? This was a role reversal. He should be telling me. But who cared? That's all history. I went out, I bought the melatonin. I bought it in a 3-gram size. You can get 10 grams. So I came home, went to bed the way I usually do, which is when I get really tired, I get into bed and I read. And the reading makes my eyes very heavy. And I turn out the light and I try to sleep. But almost always, I never cross that line into sleep. Almost always. Getting right up to that line, my body snaps awake. You had enough sleep. It says you took a sniff. It's good enough for you. Well, this time, when I closed my book, I popped a pill. A single 3-gram tablet of melatonin. Amazing. I was conscious of being drowsy and lying down and waiting for something to happen. And 4.5 hours later, I woke up. The longest sleep I had in my adult life. I felt like a new man. That was about 1.5 years ago. I've been taking it ever since. And it isn't an absolute 100% panacea. But my goodness, 5 out of 7 days I sleep well. That's a miracle for me. But there's a lesson in here for all of us, but I'm thinking really specifically of the medical profession, because I do blame them. As a group, as a body, I do blame them individually for not thinking out of the box, not thinking of a simple solution without prescription, without injection. My goodness. A single word. Try melatonin. Oh, great ending. Well, not a single word, but a single word. Melatonin. Keep the solution simple. God bless.